What is up, my people? So I've had the last couple weeks off. I've been relaxing. I've been doing my R&R. I've been doing my thing. Okay. Have y'all seen this show? I forgot about this show. I used to watch this show when I was younger. It's called I Survived. It was originally on A&E, but now they have it on FYI. I think LMN or something like that, and then they have it on YouTube. When I tell y'all, I forgot how insane this show is. I'll tell you the premise. I'll break down the plot. So I Survived. It's pretty much what it is. It's all these different people talking about stories that they have survived. There is some school pew incidents where people, survivors, tell their accounts of them being in the school that day. There was one gentleman who was on the freeway and crashed into a chemical. I think it was chlorine, and the chlorine was like eating his body. There's all of these crazy, insane, flipping stories on I Survived, and it's all witness accounts, all first-time accounts of all of these crazy things happening, okay? And we'll go through a couple of them. So all of these stories are first-person accounts, as to what happened, and these stories are insane. I do want to put a trigger warning out there. These stories are told in extreme specific detail, and the stories, I've literally never heard any stories like this in my whole life. I've been around the way, I've seen some things, I've watched some things, but this whole series has always stuck with me. And I'm going to go through one story now, but I want to tell a couple. There's domestic violence issues. There was another crazy story that I remember where somebody was attempting to take a baby out of a woman's stomach. These stories are extremely graphic, but very interesting to hear how people survived, what they decided to do with their lives after, how they were living before. But this is one story that I still think about to this day. I think I saw this episode like 10 years ago, and I will never, ever forget the story that we'll go through very quickly here. This is one story that has always stuck with me. I will never forget this story. I saw it about like 10, 15 years ago, and I still think about this story till this day. I do want to give a trigger warning. It is extremely graphic. But this is Mary, okay? Mary was 15 years old. I want to say it was late 70s, early 80s. I'll have to double check on the time there. But Mary was 15 and she had just run away from home. At this time, hitchhiking was a thing. She said that she was walking around the highway and a hitchhiker pulled up. And then when the hitchhiker pulled up, she said that she did get a weird feeling, and the fact that there was enough room in the van to take other people, but the gentleman did not want to take other people, kind of set off a red flag, but she ultimately went into the van by herself. Mary and the guy are driving. At one point, she looks up and sees that the signs that she was, the direction she was supposed to be going in is going in the opposite direction. So at this point, she tries to tell the man in the van, please stop, I'll walk from here, it's all good. When the guy stopped, she said that she looked out the window and then was knocked out. Apparently, this man had knocked her out in the back of the head with a hatchet or a sledgehammer. Now, after Mary got hit in the back of the head, she said she came to, and some things that I cannot say on this app were happening. After that happened, she said that kind of a struggle ensued. And y'all, this man cut off her arm. He cut off her arm. And then he threw her off of a fucking cliff. Threw her off of a cliff with no arm. When I tell you this,
I started to fall. And then he took another swing, and I grabbed his arm. Grabbed it real tight. And I couldn't figure out, I'm holding him real tight on his arm, but I'm still falling. I looked down at my arm, and there was nothing, just blood squirting out. I felt all the pain, the sharpness, the burning. At that point, he started to drag me. And I think he thought I was dead because I just lay still and didn't move. And he threw me off a 30-foot cliff.
After she got thrown off of the cliff, She said that she was laying there and that she, was getting cold and she was getting really tired, but she said that her will to live is basically what saved her life. He cut off both of her fucking arms. And threw her off a cliff. She said that when she was thrown off of the cliff that she was losing a lot of blood and that she was getting really tired very quickly. She said that her will to live is basically the only thing that saved her, and what she did, she put both of her arms, where the arms were missing, into dirt to stop the bleeding, and then she said she, as best as she could, she army crawled up the cliff. That isn't a survivor's will to live will always blow my mind. This story is so crazy. She said that she was finally able to reach the top of the cliff and she was trying to wave down some cars. Now, as you imagine, her fucking arms were chopped off, and so she said that the first car approached her was like a red convertible, and there was two guys in there, and she said that the guys just looked at her and just took off, and she was like, I look something like out of a horror movie. Like, no one's gonna stop her. I'm gonna survive all of this stuff only to basically die on the highway because I look so scary to other people, which I thought was so fucking heartbreaking. Now, eventually, a newlywed couple does come up and pick her up. They go to a phone booth. They were able to call 911 where she was life-flighted out. Obviously, doctors were able to save her life, but this story has always stuck with me. My mom was extremely paranoid as a kid, so I've always been born to just be aware of my surroundings, but it's stories like this, and like I said, I've been watching this series like since I've been off, but it's stories like this that really make me think and double think, especially when I'm out and about with family or whoever, because again, this is pretty extreme story, but there are other stories of things that can happen to anyone at any time on any given day, and just hearing their first accounts of things that they did to survive or their will to live sticks with you, and you never know when you'll need it. But this is Mary's story. Like I said, you can look this up. It is on YouTube, and there are many other crazy stories on this series, but this is just one story, and obviously Mary's story. But tell me what you guys think in the comments. Tell me if anyone else has watched this show. Like I said, I used to watch this show religiously, and I haven't watched it in a few years, so just recapping some of the stories was absolutely mind-blowing to me. But yeah, let me know if you guys seen the show. As always, I love you guys, and I will see y'all later.